Hello. As you probably know by now, I'm Marianne. I'm here with my colleague Pat, and together we make up the book group team at the library. We thought that by now you may be feeling a little discontented about the books that you've been reading. So we're here today to give you some alternative suggestions. We think you might enjoy looking at some other formats for your book group reads. So we think we're going to start with a book of short stories by Tim O'Brien called The Things They Carried. This is particularly a good time to read this book because of the Ken Burns Vietnam series that came out in the fall.
And that's what actually nudged us toward this volume. And it's considered a classic in the canon of literature on Vietnam. It is beautifully written. It's a collection of short stories that talk about a young man being drafted, the fact that he had no out, and his experiences in Vietnam. It's remarkable in its prose, and also it's
unflinching in its portrayal of what it really means what it meant to be a soldier in Vietnam. There's so much to talk about in this book, really. It gives you a view of battle and war that is hard to imagine if you haven't experienced it. A wonderful book with much to talk about, and clearly each and every story is very compelling. Mm-hmm. We love this book, and our book groups have loved this book.
And if you're not tired of war yet, because we did promise to get you out of your doldrums.
Right. This is how we're doing it.
We next chose Persepolis, which is a graphic novel by Marjane Satrapi. And it's also a classic in its genre. And it's a memoir. It tells a story of her childhood in Iran, first experiencing the fall of the Shah and then the rise of the Ayatollah Khomeini, and how it impacted their lives, the lives of her parents, her grandmother, her friends. It is charming because she never loses the voice of a child.
It is a book, however, that has a lot of scholarship that's been done about it. It is as applicable for adults to read as it is for younger people. This story is truly enhanced by the graphics that are here. If you've never tried a graphic novel, do yourself a favor. Try this one. I think you'll really enjoy it a lot. Mystery is on our mind with Magpie murders. This book is great because the twist in this book is that it is one mystery wrapped in another mystery.
You may be familiar, any Anglophiles out there, with Anthony Horowitz. He's the writer of the Midsummer Murder series, Foyle's War, and in this one, it's really an homage to Agatha Christie.
We think that this is a good choice for book groups. Number one, it's a fun read. It sort of takes you back to the golden days of Agatha Christie. So you look at mystery from that point of view, and also you get today's take on a mystery because it's also part of this book. So we think that you would find quite a bit to discuss, and also you might very well enjoy reading something like this.
And last but not least, for those of you who've ever entertained the idea of a road trip with Stephen Colbert at the wheel, we bring you LaFayette in the Somewhat United States by Sarah Vowell.
She is an historian, but she is also a humorist. So she tells the story of the dream of the Revolutionary War and the reality of what it was like afterward. She also brings to the forefront LaFayette, a young French nobleman who comes to this country at age 18.
Mm-hmm. Who had leaving his, he was a new bridegroom, so he left his wife, pregnant wife, to follow in the footsteps of George Washington, who had become his hero. And
a father figure that he came specifically to work with him. He had already determined what his role would be here during that war.
And he wasn't particularly wanted by anyone here, but that didn't hold him back.
And if you take that road trip in the spring, you will be able to find throughout the United States monuments dedicated to Lafayette. It's a great book to read. It's really
It's fun and incredibly educational.
So here are our choices for now. We hope that maybe March will bring some new and exciting reads to all of you. Bye now.
Bye.